back with Gisele Miller. Good morning again. What I always like about someone who's a, decorator / organizational specialist is you'll come in somewhere and be like, here's what we need, and you'll pull out like a color palette, which is always amazing to me. I see that we have a couple of palettes going on here, and what colors aren't in this spring?
Well, I just wanted to introduce some of the colors that are really hot this year, and really this year is such a large variety. We've got the blues, we've got every shade of blue, from the sea blues to the deep blues. And
gray blue is still in play.
Grays, definitely. When you're working with blues and all that, often a nice light shade of gray, for the palette for the wall. When you're decorating, if you're going to do something bold, you might want to do your walls really bold, and then keep it tamer on the, your furnishings and things, with just a couple of really small accents that'll really pop things out.
So cushions, you're saying?
Exactly. Okay. Cushions are really, really big. Yeah. There's so many to choose from. I really didn't know which ones to grab.
I like the idea of using floral as well to bring it out.
Bright pink is the color this year. It's it's really a great accent color.
I like that.
The other colors that are really hot here are a lot of the oranges, the greens, the blues. It's just like this palette. The mixture is everywhere, as well as different textures. You'll find that you'll have thread elevations, and then you'll just have other kind of prints. A lot of beadwork is out there. Again, mix your solids with your patterns.
Right, and we're seeing, we were talking earlier, and it seemed like corals in there too sometimes.
Absolutely,
as well.
Yes, like the deep corals going into the light corals.
And that kind of leads you into pastels as well, it looks like.
Well, the bathrooms, the bathroom setting here can definitely pick on a tone of a pastel color. Pastels are really big again, coming in very big this year, but it doesn't mean that you necessarily have to go with the lighter colors with this. You can also go and pop something a little bit darker. So
I think that's always an interesting thing when you have somebody who's a professional comes in. You're able to know the trends, right? But then I say, here's where my comfort corridor is, and you can work within that.
Yes, and that's where, if you're really not that, you don't want to be exploring too much, you want to be playing it safe, then I say let's just use a couple of cushions, let's use a couple of different accents to really bring in the wow effect. Yeah. And otherwise, let's keep it simple, because that also makes it easier for you to transition from season to season. Yeah. Because you can just change the color of your cushion, change the color of your rugs.
So let me ask you a question. It's a gender-based question. Are women more adventurous in decor than men? In general, not always, but in general. Do you think that's the case?
I'd say it's about even.
Okay, so I always think of guys going, let's not go too crazy.
No, you know what? The guys are really enjoying this now. The men are definitely calling a lot more.
Oh, good.
Because they're feeling a lot more comfortable, and they want to live in a nice space.
Well, we're all watching HGTV. Exactly. You know we are, right?
Yeah, and I just wanted to point out a couple of the big items that are the in thing this year. The owl. Notice you had a couple of owls on your shelf in the back.
Right.
Owls are absolutely everywhere, as well as globes.
Yeah.
And if you can find old globes, you have really found a great find, because they are very hard to find these days.
So if you're yard sailing or you're at markets, look for that as well.
And that's one of the things as well I do, because I do a lot of senior downsizing, so I come across a lot of old items. So I like to mix some of the old with the new.
Senior downsizing is a business that will continue to boom. I think we know that. But another issue with downsizing I like was combining families. We see that as well.
Yes. So with the blended families, there's his, hers, and ours. Yeah. How are we going to make that work? So,
all in one place,
and that's where I can go into both homes and with both of them and kind of act as the mediator.
I like that.
And so I know the floor plan of where they're going. So knowing the furnishings of both homes, we can blend these items, create the floor plan that's going to work, add a couple of new elements, because we need to have some hours in there, and then this way it just makes it home sweet home for both people.
Check her out, Gisele Miller. You can always check out Altered Spaces, Altered Lives. It's alteredspaces-alteredlives.com, is it? .ca. Okay, .ca. We've got to have you back to talk about hoarding and purging.
Would love to come back.
Honestly, because it's a thing that I think is also a growing problem.
Absolutely.